Okay, let's get this started because I'm not really too sure how long chasing will be live. Given you her creator name and a link to the comprehension is important. She has 226 people listening to her. So I've got my earbuds in and I've done one little production change, which is to lower the volume that comes out to you. So let me do a quick mic check. All right, so it's a little muffled today because I'm kind of in a different situation. Um, so if it's horrible, I understand, right? It's horrible. What looks to have happened before I went live last night, looking for your ideas that the community really needed to step forward to see where they were at with this glaring on two levels, glaring privacy violating personal family issue and problem up against the community realizing that everything about these litigants is public. And what I'm hearing from Chasing this morning is she's trying to let me put her on mute for just a moment. We'll catch up with her. I have her live, so I just put her on mute for a moment. And what I'm seeing, which is what we saw yesterday when Mimi came forward, is that there's something about this that is terribly wrong. And it goes back from what Chasing seems to think, it goes back to when Joneson, the creator Joneson, foiled Queen Bee's children. And they were involved in a juvenile disturbance of just kind of a personal nature. I don't think anyone was harmed, but it was a disturbance, and because she FOIA'd a certain date, she was able to get these records, and those records were shared with a more kind of, I think it'd be like a more swarthy element of the true crime drama niche. And there's different layers, obviously. We have a layer that relies on filings, deposition, lawyers' letters, declarations. This is what we rely on as a society that abides by the laws. And of course, a lot of true crime in the higher echelon. This is a lot of what they talk about until it ends up coming to the courtroom. And then in the courtroom, we're looking for any kind of new filing, new finding, new order, new motion. So it always kind of goes back to the vibrancy of the law. And for some time now, the community that is on the lower end of true crime has found itself in constant litigation where you as a public figure, especially those coming out of the RICO, you as public figures, you have to accept that reality. You are public figures. And if it is public, it will be made public. And in this case, this was not sneaking into her files, but this was an awareness of what goes on back and forth with this particular, and we do have to consider her a litigant now, and it's become habitual. So yesterday it went from her being these kind of adult personal matters that are very public and historic in the case of the RICO, all the way down to domestic violence and restraining orders, protection orders, cease and desist that have morphed into declaratory judgments. And so a lot of like personal matters that are between adults. This is the first time in which a matter that appears from the outside, because it does deal with the parents, but it involves the children specifically. And this is the matter of a summons that was issued citing attendance at school, mandatory attendance, which North Carolina has a law, like I believe all the states have laws, that a child that's enrolled in school needs to follow certain attendance, um, whatever they call it, mandates. And it's actually very forgiving that we're learning about. So we're learning quite a bit about truancy as a law and a mandate. With the sharing of that on the internet, which I believe is Chasing's first matter of concern, is that the sharing was not redacted, nor were the public filings for the matter redacted. And I have a sort of an opinion of why that might be. It's because the mandate allows for anyone over 6 and anyone under 17, I believe, that you are a juvenile. And of course, in a lot of truancy cases, the matter is brought before a juvenile court. So even though we're not seeing the summons delivered to the children or the child, it is a matter of juvenile, providence. And so with that, the community is in a bit of a debate as to whether or not we should be sharing the children's names, their schools, where is the rule of redaction, and of course the big one, why are we bringing personal matters of grave concern to a family public? And for those that are bringing it public are taking quite a, what would you say? They're taking a little bit of a hit for it, and we're going to go over to Chasing's comment, her comment section, and read some of these comments out to you guys. 5 hours ago, Chasing wrote, and I'll go ahead and I'll link the post itself so you guys can look. And this is her post here. Kind of take a look at that if you haven't seen it, where she has this picture of herself. She's in a field of wildflowers with a double FU pose, and she's labeled the photograph Weirdos. It has 87 thumbs up right now. She writes, and it is an edited post now, I haven't read these docs. I listened to Laura, who is known as CPS Laura, I listened to Laura start reading it and turned it off. So she's just gently into what's going on. She does not know really anything of what's going on. She just knows that there was something happening, and she wasn't going to have any of it, and she turned it off. And she's sitting here wondering how the FCK, anyone feels perfectly fine putting out another mom's personal business. Well, 239 comments later, a pinned comment from her with multiple replies. There are, 239 comments, not just reactions like a thumbs up or a heart or what have you. No, 239 comments. We're not going to read all of them, but I believe there's a way to tell whether or not the comments are that there's more reply. Yeah, we could kind of do a little, if it has multiple replies, I'm going to go ahead and read it so we can get a little bit of a feel for what the community is dealing with. And this is, of course, is until we hear from Miss Jackson and Mr. Black on the matter, if we do. The inside track is that the Jackson Black camp does consider this a private family matter, and more than likely she will not be talking about it. But the rest of the community is certainly not going to be listening to that. If she pleads to please stop sharing, if she goes through a certain checklist, then it will be up for those that believe that this shouldn't be allowed. What I'm expecting is that people will probably start commenting underneath, whether it's on Twitter or even on YouTube, commenting if you are going to be sharing these things publicly. There are a couple of different documents that are out there. The one document, the summons itself, I have no idea how to get the summons. The regular Scotland County, North Carolina portals, those have been open from when she was made part of the RICO. So, and that would be for anyone that was a plaintiff to be able to go into each state portal. A lot of people will do this, especially the legal community will do this to kind of get a heartbeat of the parties. Have the parties been involved in prior issues and that sort of thing? So, but of course, what ends up happening is that you find out all their problems. And in the case of Jackson, we have found, motor vehicle infractions, failure to appear, her domestic violence is in there, in and among all of these inside of the portal. Some things have actually been published in the newspaper, her local newspaper, of course, which no one can come to the press and say, why are you doing this? Because it's considered a public service and for the public good. Okay, so let's just grab a couple of these comments, starting with the pinned comment. Chasing did pin this. It's from, I'm not going to read the writer, the author. I think maybe it's easier to not. An hour ago, I find it strange that Chasing makes a post on her own channel and people think that she's got to be some moral authority for the entire YouTube. Remember, the original post was posted 5 hours ago. Let's make sure about that. Yeah, 5 hours ago. So this comment was made an hour ago. Okay. So she's had the benefit of reading all the other comments. Saying, and people think that she's got to be some moral authority for the entire YouTube. She's had the same stance for as long as I've known her. Years, by the way. Some of you need to grow up and realize that you don't have a problem until it's done to you and or your favorite person. And this is something Chasing has said for the longest. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. I'm sorry, Chasing. This is ridiculous. I hate that everyone doesn't naturally get it. I do hope you and yours have the best day and week ever. And then edited to say, some of you have never posted a word on this channel, so stop saying that Chasing hasn't called everyone out across the board. Sheesh. There's 4 replies. Reply. She's trying to compare apples to oranges. There is no across the board here. BJ puts this stuff out herself. She went live every time there was a visit to her house or doctor's office. She made it everyone's business, so to speak. If she didn't want people to know or comment, she wouldn't have done that. Yes? If she hadn't done all that and blamed everyone but her own bad parenting, no one would be searching dockets. And by the way, who found this anyway? I don't know that she didn't share once again, and one of her own damn people spread this shit around. Another comment to that. It looks as though there may have been replies that were deleted. That's unfortunate. Her actions don't dictate others. Seriously, this is so embarrassing. Okay, then getting into a comment that has 70 thumbs up and 5 replies. Yet, falsely accusing people on the internet of calling a CPS and her Medicaid or whatever is not too much or should be on the internet. Where was that energy with my ex, my fiance, my business, my finances, or more importantly, the day BJ sat in a chat while my underage daughter was playing on screen in a video? Let me guess, lost in the gray area? You all stand for nothing, and you only defend what's done to your people. Fake as fuck. I'm the devil, yet you ain't never seen proof that I've done any of the crap you all excuse from biggin'. So you can miss me with all your mom business. I don't know what kind of mom can defend negligence to the level of missing out on a free education you don't even have to grift for, K through 12 education, with 5 replies. Shouldn't you be on Kick? I thought you hated YouTube. I will read out Chasing's comments, however. I've repeatedly stood against them going after your child. I've said time and time again that was completely wrong and disgusting. So I'll find the post under this community section when I look. More replies. Chasing says, I've gone live about it. I've talked about it countless times. I actually made myself a bit nauseous and annoyed by mentioning it so much, as it should be common. Reply. Are they under members only? Like the, YEP live streams? Chasing writes, she struck me for privacy. I put her name on it and got hit. Reply. An apology doesn't cancel out a crime. It just means the consequences finally got loud enough for them to pretend they're sorry. Someone writes, she puts it out there herself. Next comment, she should quit accusing everyone else of calling CPS. This one has 94 thumbs up and 23 replies. I believe it's one of the bigger comments. It reads, call people weirdos while another creator is neglecting her child getting an education? You are the type of people who makes excuses for BJ and coddles her. You are the reason she will not try to be a better person. Shaking my head. Commenter replies, exactly. The more people like her excuse, deflect, and enable, the worse it will get for those children. I'm sick to my stomach. No one is going to shame me for judging a very publicly neglectful mother and father, and no one will shame me for being concerned about the welfare of young children. It's sickening, is a reply. Good comments is another reply. 100 is another reply. I think the weirdos are the ones who wait over 2 hours for her live streams to start. Reply, exactly 100. Next reply, the fact that you refuse to see that 1, she brings her children's business to the internet, 2, you refuse to see that she has been blaming the internet for CPS when it's been blatantly obvious that the school involved CPS for her lack of basic parenting. 3, that it is public record on a court website. Get the fuck out of here with the once again gaslighting, making excuses, ignoring facts. Maybe instead of your suggestion of gas prevention, you should have a year ago suggested she get off the internet, be a responsible mother, get her life in order, then do the internet. Okay, let's see where we're at. Okay, I will put the link to the posts again, and you guys can kind of follow it up if you'd like to on your own, and that's right there. And let me just kind of thumb down a little bit here, scroll down a little bit. Chasing says, do you think that's what's happening here? that putting out court docs is going to magically make something change? Comment says, Chasing, look what happened when you enabled and made excuses for Cam and Allie like this. They lost their house, their kids, and are lucky if they're still alive. You made all the excuses for them, and it's dangerous. How can you not put the kids' safety and welfare first? It really makes me wonder. Chasing comes back. I never enabled them. We were friends off here. I talked to them often about issues. What I didn't do was enable crazy people to harass them constantly. When I met them, they were sober and went down a very awful road. I am certainly not enabling BJ. I don't know her and don't converse with her. What I see on here is useless. What did putting that info out do? Change something for the better? What did harassing Cam and Allie do? Make it better or help make it worse? Commenter says, don't buy it. Sorry. These people are out here scamming and grifting, and you don't want attention brought to it. Always sweeping chasing. Always. It needs to be exposed so people are aware and keep their money safe. You should know that after what happened with Cam and Allie, and YEP, just stop. It's ridiculous trying to silence people. The community should be aware what these scammers and grifters are up to. They'll lie. They bring the lies to YouTube with the intention of misleading and taking in money. Just stop. I actually think it crazy people that make excuses for people like Brittany. And we can show more replies even. Something has to change. Nothing else has helped. Maybe a magnifying glass will help with parents making better decisions. Chasing writes, sure, things do need to change. I agree, but this won't help. None of it has. Commenter. Shame can actually be a powerful motivator depending. The town I grew up in was fairly small enough that crimes and offenders were listed in the newspaper. They did a longitudinal study regarding the effects of public shaming and accountability and found out that, overall, the effects were positive and often proved the catalyst for change. Now I realize that the person has to actually feel shame, be remorseful, and want to change in the first place. So in that sense, I concur. Nothing will change. That's evidenced by BJ's most recent comments in here. By the way, the newspaper isn't able to publish all of the crimes and offenders anymore due to the size of the city at present. Commenter. The fact that she has accused multiple people on YouTube of calling CPS, inciting calls to CPS when it's her own actions that have caused CPS to be involved. Yes, I think this should be a public shaming. She needs to take responsibility and accountability and make changes. People need to be aware of her lies and that it's not everyone else that is the problem here. Something needs to be the catalyst for change. If she keeps getting away with deceiving people and lying, nothing will ever change. More replies. Thumbs up. It may open people's eyes to see that Brittany plays people. Okay. Comment. Brittany is not a victim. Stop making her one. She's no underdog. Chasing says, I didn't say victim. I never called her a victim. I think the behavior of other grown women is kinda gross. Commenter. Yes, I agree, but Brittany knows what these people will do. That's why she puts out what she does, so they'll do it. Do you remember when Brittany announced to the internet that Queen was pulled over and didn't have her insurance card on her and got a ticket? Let me guess, that was okay, right? Chasing writes, nope, not okay. None of it's okay. Are y'all reading anything? I just clicked and almost all of you have never been here or commented before. So I think it's probably going to end up being more of the same. I don't know if anyone uh, from the profession, whether teachers came in to share their experience or knowledge about truancy. Here's someone that says this is a personal matter, not meant for the internet. All in caps, the fake outrage because it's all about BJ is ridiculous. So these are just old ideas. This whole, the reason that what's called the fake outrage. And therefore you should shut up about it because it's fake outrage. I believe it is outrage. I'm not too sure if it's fake outrage. I just think it's just everyday outrage. It's infuriating that everyone's done that everything that's done against BJ is condemned, but when it happens to anyone else, it goes by the by. Not by you alone, but by a lot of creators. At the end of the day, BJ and her co-shorts started this. To feign surprise when it's returned is pathetic. I'm over everyone but her being held by high standards when she proves every night she shouldn't be in the true crime, and she should be taking care of her family. I wish people would ice her out already. Technically, Brittany wasn't the first one to put out the info on Clue or Baby Clue, but those that were first haven't had anyone call them out because people are calling Brittany out for it. Was it wrong for her to discuss it on her panel? Yes, 100%. It shouldn't have been done, but also she shouldn't be the only one being called out for it. Chasing comes in and says, I have always stood against going real life across the board. I remember that was a big thing here, and now it feels like it's normal. Someone writes, Brittany didn't put out anything about her daughter. In fact, she did herself on Queen Bee's panel. Fair, however, when she perpetuates situations and takes, what is it now, 6 creators into a courtroom, that's all good. Taking all different people into a courtroom has been looked past because people have dared to challenge the grimy, dirty, and underhand things she has done. Laura CPS was outed from the community for calling CPS. BJ put 6 people in court, yet people are annoyed when one person does it back to her and everyone is feeling sorry for her lying, grifting self. It's all good when people call Clue out or Queen or Truth mod subs. That's fine and dandy, but don't anyone dare to call BJ the worst of this community out. Foul mouths aren't courtrooms. Research, as BJ and co call it, isn't courtrooms. Showing someone's adult kid is perfectly fine because it was on Facebook. But Lord, if anyone dare put pictures of BJ's kids, who have been posted on Facebook, nah, that's too far. I duck out of more lives than I stay in now because she's a disgusting woman who has done the most to creators, yet she sits on the highest pedestal being praised and helped because, quote, poor BJ. Not for me. She's deplorable, and her actions are absolutely unforgivable. When no one in this community has done as much real life as BJ, as oof, lost it there. Let's see, where did it go? Oh, no one in this community has done as much real life as BJ. That's the end of that comment. Are you fucking kidding me, Boston? Stop it. You protect men that hurt little children, don't you, Clue? You don't remember that? BJ said that. Get the fuck out of here. You're simping for her again is absolutely pathetic. She's a neglectful parent. You know she is. All right. Whoa, this one has a lot of comments. 15 replies on this one. After 10 absences, the school is required by law to involve social services. BJ needs to stop lying about the school not calling CPS. They are required by law to do so. Comment by Chasing. I agree. I saw what the doc said. My issue isn't with the issue. It's with putting them on the internet. It's crossing lines. If it's wrong for everyone, then it's wrong for everyone. Comment. I don't feel that it's fair to now say, hey, wait, we don't do this. It crosses lines. After BJ has done it so many times herself to others, it's too late. Joneson, Sinner, BJ all crossed way over the line many times. In fact, Zero Jules was just digging into UA the other day. But it should suddenly stop now because it's BJ. I completely disagree. What should happen now is any and all support should be removed from BJ so that she is forced to put her children ahead of the internet. It's truly the only way those poor children have any chance of a decent future. Oh man. What do we do? Right? I always come up with what do we do? We read more, we're just gonna get further into it. What do we do? What do we do here? I guess the community needs to go through this thrashing a bit before maybe some of the more important issues come up. This morning, this is why I said, is Truancy the Final Straw? We're still talking about her and her performance on YouTube, which is well known. We're still talking about her and her familiarity with litigation, which is well documented on YouTube. The fact that this matter of truancy is somehow reflective of her absolute demand that the internet has been responsible for these numerous CPS calls, when in fact every single instance of truancy, which by the way there had to have been 10, but there's three levels, like three ladders before it goes into a criminal warrant or a summons. And so at each time, the parents are contacted, by the way, at each time. So she's known three different separate, very valid concerns by the principal. And it was not heeded to, and it did not change. Enough so that they are basically, the principal, the wording is, let me get the wording for you guys so that you know. At the very end, it says, they are able to determine whether or not the defendant had made a good faith effort to comply with the law. And bottom line, the defendant did not make a good faith effort to comply with the law. So this is after 10 days, after three, like I said, there's three little ladders of what would make anything like this happen. Mimi. So they have not complied by the law. They are not in compliance with the law, and yet there are three major, like I said, three major legs or ladder rungs that would have to go through in order for the summons to even begin. So Mimi says hi. Like I said last night, regardless who the parents are and the children, truancy is only one of the problems of a family unit. This is where I kind of thought the conversation would go, especially over at Chasings, but it doesn't seem to yet go there yet. I've only read, like I'm just at the very tip of the comment section, but it does seem that the time that we spent together last night, that we were able to come to terms that truancy in its face is really the veil of more problems. So I think that this is kind of how we stand as a little troop, that the Yes, right. That's right. That's basically where we're at. Yep, the right to privacy in regard to YouTubers. That's the argument and the sentiment that's coming up right now, which I think is just a stage of acceptance. Um, I don't know how any one of us would try and convince another who really does feel slighted that the community has been under a blight of allegation. And so how do you remove that from the conversation when people want some answers to that? They've got to figure out a way. Of course, everyone in their own self, they have to come up with terms on when they're just going to kind of give a sigh of relief that now they would know if there's further allegations that the likelihood that it is this private citizen that's just gone rogue out there, just calling CPS endlessly and making trouble for these people on an endless basis, is this rogue community member. When it turns out that it certainly it is not a rogue community member. So I think maybe once they get through that, maybe, but there's so many people, Um, what Chasing had 232. Let me go on a replay here because now that she's been live, she has 300 comments now. 300 comments. So this is a runaway. What would be a runaway train? Yeah, it's unbelievable. We kind of knew it last night, though, that this would. I didn't think that it would grow legs under her tutelage because apparently there's been this sort of let's all love and be loved and share and care, and we're all just part of a Pollyanna, and let it go, let it go. Uh, we all need to, sing Frozen. I don't, I don't know how they're going to unwind. Chasing may end up deleting the entire post. I know that there's some edits because there's whether people have done it on their own, whether they, like they've deleted the message on their own, but yet the reply stays, so it's kind of a little disjointed. Um, what should I say? Let me go, because you can't really go all the way to the bottom. And remember, it's not, yeah, the top is selected, so you'll see featured comments. So there's so many comments right now that it's up to Chasing to go in and bring, I guess, the messaging that she wants to. You can sort by newest comments. Yeah, the sort by on the newest. There we go. 17 minutes ago, first whoop whoop for the engagement on this post. Why isn't everyone in this comment section calling out all the other content creators? You people are so full of hate for one person that it's sickening. Leave Chasing alone. Stop acting like Clue, Queen Bee, and Granny's watching and all the others haven't crossed the lines. Yeah, yeah, she's gonna take. I'm thinking. Yeah, yeah. And also, there's a way of organizing them. Little hamburger menu there next to the, like it'll say how many comments. Oh, she's deleting comments right now. By the way, guys, she had 300 comments. Now it's down to 287. See, this is where I do believe that a creator at some point needs to trust the process. When you try to rewrite the process, yes, it's your channel. Yes, it's your property to do as you wish. And YouTube allows for you to go ahead and delete, but that will actually affect your account underneath the hood, because it means that you brought something forward, you didn't like the result, and now you're trying to basically rewrite history. So there were 300 comments. Now there's 287. Let me go here. 287. See what she has now. 281. So she keeps deleting comments. So it was from 287 to 281. We'll just keep an eye on that. But it's just an idea. Yeah. That when you do decide to step up and out as a creator, and as someone that maybe has messaging towards freedom of speech, let's talk about this. This is one of the reasons why everyone from the beginning of Chat Only, we have no moderators and there's no blocking, banning, reporting, or deleting. Now, we have had to edit a post for misspelling or it didn't come out, and the posters can edit their own. But I do not go in as the channel host and touch any of the comments because in our case, we're opening ourselves up to conversation about chat-worthy creators, so it requires a flow. And yes, they could be deleting their own comments. Exactly. They definitely could. And if there's another creator that's kind of trying to play war games, not on her property. Yeah. I'm going to go over there and see what she's actually saying. Because she was on this last night. See what she's got to say about it. Wait a minute here. Mimi, is Brittany live as well? So Chasing is reading her comments now, I guess. 278 are watching. Hope she keeps it up. I mean, I hope that she doesn't delete or put this in private. Because she's at Petty's reply right now. Yeah. Ooh, wow. Ouch. Okay, I'm out of chasings right now. We're at 281. So she's reading and editing the comments. She's at 282 right now. I think I have to go, I think.